My name is Emily. I'm 27 years old, and I live in a small apartment in Boston. On my bed, there's a white wedding dress, soft, shining, beautiful, but today, it feels empty. I never thought my wedding would be delayed because of another woman. Yet here I am, sitting alone, holding the dress I'm not sure I will ever wear. For almost 3 years, I've been with James, the man I thought I would spend the rest of my life with. He's gentle, funny, and smart. He's a writer, so he works from home. We talked about having a small family, traveling, and living a simple but peaceful life. We got engaged 9 months ago, and our wedding was supposed to be in January. I believed we had a strong and healthy relationship. But then, everything changed. It started with a message. 3 months ago, James got a message from someone from his past, his ex-wife, Claire. I had never met her, but I knew they had been high school sweethearts. They married young and later divorced. James said they ended things on good terms, but they never spoke again. She moved to Los Angeles for work, while he stayed here in Boston. When James told me Claire had contacted him, I felt nervous, but I trusted him. I had no reason not to. She wanted to meet him for coffee. I told myself, it's fine. It's just coffee. But when he came home that night, he looked different, pale, quiet, lost in thought. What happened? I asked. He looked at me and said softly, Claire has cancer. The word hit me like cold water. He told me she had stage 2 breast cancer and was starting treatment. She was scared and lonely. Her parents were gone, and her family lived overseas. She told James he was the closest thing she had to family. She asked him to be there for her. I felt torn. My heart broke for her, a young woman, only 28, fighting something so terrifying. But fear also began to grow inside me. Why did she need James so much? Why did it have to be him? Still, I said the only thing that felt kind, of course you should help her. I understand. At that moment, I believed everything would be okay. I didn't know that one small act of kindness would start to change everything between us. Before I share the rest of my story, I want to ask you something. Where are you listening from? It gives me strength to know someone is hearing my words, someone who understands. Please tell me in the comments. I would really love to know. After that night, everything started to change. A week later, Claire had her first surgery. James told me he wanted to fly to Los Angeles to be with her. I was surprised, even scared, but I didn't want to sound selfish. I asked softly, "How long will you stay?" He said, "Just 2 weeks. I'll stay near her place and help her after surgery." 2 weeks. I told myself I could handle that. I would wait. We talked every night on video calls, and I tried to smile, even when my heart felt heavy. When he came home, I ran to hug him. I missed him so much. But his eyes looked tired. Something inside me knew that this was not over. He sat down next to me on the sofa. "Claire's surgery didn't remove everything," he said. "She needs chemotherapy now, for 6 months." 6 months. But our wedding is in January. He looked at me with sad eyes. "I know, Emily. But she has no one else. I can't leave her. Not now." We didn't have enough money for hotels, so James said he would move into her apartment. "Just the sofa," he promised. I tried to be understanding. I told myself this was only temporary. But when he left again, I stood at the door, watching his taxi disappear, and it felt like part of me left too. Days turned into weeks. We still talked on the phone, but not every day. When he called, his voice sounded distant. "How are you?" I would ask. "I'm fine," he would say. "Just tired." Claire had a bad day. He spoke about her a lot, her pain, her treatment, her tears. I wanted to be supportive, but every word made my chest ache. One night, I asked quietly, "Do you still want to marry me, James?" There was a long pause. Then he said, "Of course I do. But right now, she needs me more." His words stayed in my head all night. She needs me more. The next day, I met my friend Anna at a cafe near my apartment. She could see something was wrong. "You look tired, Emily. What's going on?" I told her everything, the cancer, the move, the postponed wedding. She stared at me, shocked. "Wait. He's living with her? His ex-wife?" "Yes," I whispered. Anna shook her head. "That's not right. I know she's sick, and I feel for her. But Emily, you're his fiancée. You should come first." I looked down at my coffee. But how can I say that? She's fighting for her life. What kind of person would I be if I told him not to help her? Anna reached out and held my hand. "You're not wrong to feel hurt. Kindness doesn't mean forgetting yourself. Her words stayed in my mind all night. The next day, James called again. His tone was gentle but distant. "I think I should stay here until the end of her treatment," he said. I felt my throat close. "That means February, or longer." "I know," he said softly. "But she needs help. I can't leave her yet." Tears filled my eyes. "James, what about us? What about our future?" He sighed. "Emily, please understand. This is temporary. I just need to be here now." After the call, I sat in the dark and stared at our photos on the wall. The picture of us under the oak tree where he proposed. The way he smiled at me, his hands shaking. I remembered thinking he was the one. Now, I wasn't so sure. Days passed. I woke up alone, went to work, cooked dinner, and came home to silence. The bed was cold on his side. His jacket still hung by the door. Everything looked the same, but nothing felt the same. Sometimes I imagined him there with Claire, making tea, watching TV, sitting close. I tried not to think about it, but my heart wouldn't stop. I didn't know what was worse, the fear that he might still love her, or the fear that I was slowly losing him for good. 2 weeks passed before James called again. His voice was quiet, almost nervous. "I need to talk to you," he said. My stomach turned. "What is it?" He took a deep breath. "I think we should postpone the wedding. Maybe until February. I can't leave Claire right now. Not while she's in the middle of her treatment." For a few seconds, I couldn't speak. My heart pounded so loudly I could hardly hear my own voice. "James, are you saying our wedding isn't important anymore?" "No," he said quickly. "It's important. But she's sick, Emily. I can't walk away from her now." That night, I cried more than I ever had before. I lay on the floor, clutching my pillow, asking myself how everything fell apart so fast. The next morning, I woke up early. The air felt heavy, the sky gray. I sat on my bed, looking at my wedding dress again, the same dress that once made me so happy. Now it only reminded me of pain. Days went by. We talked less and less. When James called, he always talked about Claire. "She lost her hair today," he said. "She's so brave." I wanted to be supportive, but every story made me feel smaller, like I didn't belong in his world anymore. Then, one Sunday, I went to visit my parents. My mom took one look at me and frowned. You've lost weight, Emily. Are you eating properly? I smiled weakly. I'm fine. My dad shook his head. You don't look fine. At dinner, I told them everything about Claire, the move, and the postponed wedding. My dad's face grew serious. Emily, I understand wanting to help someone sick, but this isn't right. He's your fiancé. He should be with you. My mom touched my hand. You deserve to be someone's first choice. Her words hit me hard. That night, I lay awake thinking about them. Was I being patient or just foolish? A few days later, James called again. How's Claire feeling? I asked. She's tired. The chemo is hard, he said. And the doctors? What did they say? He hesitated. It's worse than before. Stage 4 now. She doesn't have much time. I sat up straight. Stage 4? But you said stage 2 before. He looked away. You must have misunderstood. But I knew I hadn't. I remembered every word from that night he first told me. Something was wrong. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking, what if he wasn't telling the truth? The next morning, I walked to work feeling like a ghost. My mind replayed every little thing, his late calls, his short messages, the way he avoided questions. Was he hiding something? I couldn't take it anymore. I called him that evening. James, I said quietly but firmly, I want the truth. Did you lie about her cancer? There was silence. I could hear him breathing on the other end. Finally, he said, Emily, yes. She has cancer, but it's stage 2. Not stage 4. I felt my hands start to shake. You lied to me? You made me think she was dying? I didn't want to hurt you, he said quickly. I just thought, if it sounded worse, you'd understand why I had to stay. Tears filled my eyes. Understand? You used her illness to make me accept this? You let me believe she was dying. For the first time, I felt something break deep inside, not just sadness, but trust. That night, I sat alone in my room with the wedding dress in front of me. I ran my hand over the soft fabric and whispered, "It's over, isn't it?" I realized that no matter how much I loved him, love couldn't fix lies. The man I thought would spend his life with me had chosen someone else, and worse, he had lied to keep it that way.
The story continues in 10 seconds. Pause the video to review the new vocabulary and answer the quiz questions.
After James admitted the truth, I couldn't look at him the same way again. Days passed in silence. He sent messages, short, careful, almost cold. I read them but didn't answer. My heart was tired. My mind kept replaying every lie, every excuse. I felt like I was living with a ghost, a memory of the man I used to love. A week later, he called again. I almost didn't pick up, but part of me needed closure. His face appeared on the screen, pale, lonely, and unsure. "Emily," he said softly, "I miss you. I don't want to lose you." I stared at him. "Then why are you still there, James? Why are you living with her and not with me?" He looked down. "Because I promised her. After her surgery, she said I could go home. But I told her I'd stay, that you supported it." My heart stopped. "You told her that I supported this?" "Yes," he said quietly. "I thought it would make things easier." I felt heat rush to my face. "You used my name to justify leaving me. You made me the reason you stayed." He looked hurt. "Emily, I thought it was the right thing. I thought you'd understand one day." My voice trembled. "Understand that my fiancé chose his ex-wife over me? Understand that you lied about her illness? Understand that our wedding was canceled because of a lie?" "No, James. I will never understand that." He tried to speak, but I ended the call. That night, I sat in the dark, staring at my wedding plans on the laptop. The photos, the venue, the flowers, everything looked so beautiful, but it all felt like it belonged to another life. Slowly, I began canceling each thing, one by one. Click. The florist, canceled. Click. The photographer, canceled. Click. The venue, canceled. Each click was like cutting another thread between us. 2 weeks later, I moved out of the apartment we shared. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. His books were still on the shelf, his jacket still by the door. For a moment, I touched it, then I walked away. My new apartment was small, just one bedroom, but it was mine. I placed a small plant on the windowsill and breathed for the first time in months. The air felt lighter. James called again a few times, but I didn't answer. I needed space. I needed to find myself again. Some nights, I still thought about him. I wondered if he sat beside Claire, holding her hand, convincing himself he was doing the right thing. Maybe he believed his own story, the story that broke us. But I couldn't live in that lie anymore. I started taking walks in the park after work. The same park where he proposed. I thought it would hurt, but strangely, it didn't. It felt peaceful, like saying goodbye without words. Over time, the pain began to fade. I smiled again. I met friends for coffee, listened to music, and read books just for myself. Slowly, the world began to open again. I learned something powerful from all of it. Love is not just about kindness or loyalty. It's also about honesty. Without honesty, even the strongest love will fall apart. I learned that I can't save someone who doesn't choose me. And sometimes, walking away isn't weakness, it's courage. Now, months later, I'm okay. I still have moments of sadness, but they don't control me anymore. When I think of James, I don't feel hate, I feel understanding. He was lost, confused, maybe even scared. But that doesn't excuse what he did. I look at the world differently now. I look at myself differently, too. I know what I deserve. I know what love should feel like: calm, safe, true. If you're listening to this and you feel like you're in second place in your own relationship, please remember this. You deserve more. You deserve to be loved fully, not halfway. You deserve someone who chooses you every single day. It's not selfish to want that. It's human. And if your heart is breaking right now, know this: it won't always hurt this much. Pain can teach you, not destroy you. You will heal, just like I did. Before I end my story, I want to say thank you for listening, for feeling with me, for staying until the end.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share. You can watch the next story here or explore our playlist for more inspiring stories. And don't forget to subscribe. More emotional stories for learning English are coming soon.